I make mistakes literally all of the time in model railroading, but there were some that really cost me when I was starting out. Today on Coffee and Trains, I am going over 5 mistakes that really messed up my model railroad when I was starting out. Hey everybody, my name is Jimmy. I am drinking some coffee from Iron Horse Roasters, and this is Coffee and Trains. If you want to tell me what kind of coffee you are drinking and be featured just like these guys right here, you can do that in the comments below, and who knows, you might see your name pop up on an episode of Coffee and Trains. Also, this episode is supported by trains.com. You can use the promo code JimmyDIY to get $10 off your order of $50 or more. Check out the link in the description. Cheers. Number 1. I use the wrong material. Using the right materials can really make your model railroad not only easier to build, but more functional. This can apply to a bunch of things, but for me, it was foam. Now, I have used foam in my construction for years, but there are 2 products that I started out that led to a bunch of problems. That is polyethylene foam sheets and green floral foam. Starting with polyethylene, this is the white foam that is often used in packing. I bought this first because I wanted a foam base, and it was cheap, and it came in sheets that fit in my car. This ended up being a nightmare for my layout. The little foam balls it is made up ended up getting everywhere, and unlike extruded foam, I had a load of trouble putting things like trees and other scenery items into it and having them stick. It was so hard to keep rigid since I used a series of small sheets that I had to support with 1x3s. I will never use polyethylene foam in a layout again. I know there are some of you out there that use that and have had success, but it was a massive failure for the way that I used it. The other foam is green floral foam, the kind you use to make fake bouquets and things like that. I originally bought this for making a tunnel. At first, it looks great. You can use them like building blocks, then make a tunnel and construct it easily. The problem came when I tried to shape them and sand them. When you cut and sand this stuff, it has a really fine dust that comes out of it, and it can go everywhere. And in my case, it got into an engine and gummed it up so bad that I ended up losing the engine. The moral of this story is when using foam on a layout, extruded foam really does work best. Number 2, I was impatient with track work. I wasted hundreds of dollars in messed up track. I would try to wedge something in and make it fit, or I wouldn't use the correct turns. I remember when I first started, I didn't know the difference between code 83 and code 100 track in HO scale, and ended up buying half my layout in code 83 and half in code 100. Yeah, that cost a bunch of money to fix. By the way, the track code is the rail height. If you do this, you can get adapter rail joiners, but I didn't know that either. When you're starting out, try to invest in something that works rather than going for broke and ending up broke. I ended up getting rid of the standard snap track and switching to Bachmann Easy Track when I was in HO scale, and this was a lot better for my stage in model railroading. It was more expensive, but I ended up being happier. Now, I'm not saying that you have to start with attached roadbed track, but it definitely makes things easier when you're a rookie like I was. Number 3. I didn't pay attention to tolerances. One of the most infuriating things that I dealt with was when I bought a 6-axle diesel and some cool River Rossi passenger cars, only to find out that my curves were too tight for those passenger cars to run on without derailing. This is when I was on HO scale, and I had 18-inch radius curves on my track, and I didn't know that I needed 22-inch radius for this combination to run effectively. The combination of body-mounted couplers on the 6-axle diesel and the truck-mounted long shank couplers on the passenger cars meant a derailment about 3/4 of the way through the turn. Now, I ended up ripping out and replacing the 2 curves with 22-inch radius track, but it was still a hassle and a major letdown when I tried to run the trains for the first time. Number 4. I built horrible inclines. There's no doubt that having a train climb a grade is really cool in your layout. But sometimes those grades become the problem child of your layout. When I was starting out, I loved the Virginian Project Railroad from Model Railroader. I still love that layout, and I think it's as close to perfect for a 4x8 setup as you can get. So I tried to build it, and well, I messed up the incline. You see, I didn't know how to calculate grades, and I cut corners and did what was easiest. I also used Masonite as my baseboard, which I will never do again. What ended up happening was my engines couldn't pull anything up the grade. I ended up having to put bullfrog snot, which is a liquid traction tire, on some of the wheels, and that led to electrical pickup issues. Basically, it was a nightmare, and this led me to learning all about grades and what I should and shouldn't do. So it was a learning experience for me, but not a fun one and not a cheap one. Number 5, I tried to have my layout do too much. This is one thing that I am still learning and working on. My original layouts had way too much in them. I would try to cram multiple loops, towns, industries, scenic elements, all into one space. Now this is all subjective, and if this is what you want, that's okay. But trying to make all of these things functional was, well, not fun. This has been a slow lesson I have been learning as I go. As a matter of fact, in my next iteration of this layout, I'm only going to have 2 main industries and 2 transload tracks. I have found that having one complex industry can be way more fun to switch than 2 or 3 simple ones. Another lesson I have learned is that the town doesn't need to be the center of attention on your layout. You can put it in a corner or off to the side. These are things that are subjective, and you ultimately need to do what you like, but to me, simpler is becoming the better option. If you're looking to start your model railroad journey, you can check out these videos right here. If you have mistakes that you have made in the past and you want to share them, you can let me know in the comments. Until next time, I'm Jimmy from the DIY and Digital. Stay safe, be kind, drink some coffee, and happy railroading.